Hello and welcome to Dongamet channel. Today on my messy block I've got some sub $20 hardware store knives. Went to the tractor supply company yesterday to get a wheel for the ATV trailer. Spare wheel, spare in a tube. And I noticed that they were very low on knives. Now they used to have a cabinet by the door full of case knives, and you'd have a Bear and Son in there. You'd have some Schrade, some a Gerber, all kinds of stuff. It was a great little knife display. They took it out. Okay, they put a box full of ammo there. Okay, so that in a way it's a trade-off that's not entirely negative, but no more knife case, only these kinds of things now. Things in the packet, the blister pack, with the half off, because it's just a piece of junk, nobody wants it. But I saw this 420 stainless steel, 420 what? They don't say, but I think it's 420J2. And I kind of like the 420J2, and I have a real soft spot for the Camillus swedge knife in modified form, which also is in 420 stainless steel, which I strongly suspect is 420J2, with a pretty good heat treatment. And so what you have is a steel that's, it's not very hard, and in theory, it's not very abrasion resistant, but it's extremely tough. And toughness is a part of edge retention if you're me. Okay? No. Okay, so we all know about the bug out killer. This is my little example. I've done a little light regrind. It's a bit messy, but I thinned out a bit into the hollow there and apple seeded the edge. And the performance now is, of course, meh. I'm like, oh wow, this is a really great knife actually. But maybe then I pick up a Craftsman Red Eye, and I'm like, well, I don't know if it's better than the Red Eye. For me, I suspect not, because I like the flat grind better than the hollow grind. And I might even say, like, arguably this is D2. Let's say this is D2 and this is 5CR. This is going to have a finer grain structure. So it might require more sharpening, but it's more of a you can get a better result with it. Potentially. And the action on both of these knives is really good. I'm arguing that for time being, this is the best. This is the number one sub $20 hardware store knife, the Craftsman Red Eye from Lowe's. And I also have, I got more of these things, but I can't find this. Wait, somewhere around here there's a Husky. Can I find it? I've seen it recently. Well, somewhere around here there's a Husky low-pack Tanto. And that's a pretty good piece of trash as well. And then there's this one, for example. We got a few of these. This is the Milwaukee compact folder. This takes a very thin, slicey grind great box cutter. Again, you don't get awesome edge retention, but it's so easy to touch up, this thing. And I'm pretty sure I've had this like slicing cigarette paper cleanly. This has nothing to do with anything. We'll just get that out of the way. Get some stuff out of the way. So yeah, but I mean, if you got something like this in your possession, why even bother buying this garbage? Right? I'm speaking with Jimbus Maximus, and he said that he's pretty much given up on the cheapo knives. And usually what happens when I get one. Here's another one. I know it. Here in the drawer. Okay. I got two of these. SOG Adventurer. One of them was sent to me free by Supra, and one of them I bought at the Tractor Supply. So I guess I must have gotten one at the Tractor, and then Supra sent me the other one. I think this is the one I got at Tractor. And I really just think it looks cheap and nasty, this one. With the grey and the black PVD. It's kind of a depressing knife, let's say. Meanwhile, this one, with the blue and the satin, I find really quite appealing. However, they come with blade play. They come with quite a lot of side-to-side blade play. No real front to back. Well, you can get it if you put a little pressure when you're gripping on the lock bar. You'll start getting it. Now, this one seems to have a little... it's okay. But it's the same thing, side to side. Maybe you can fix that. Maybe you can fix that, and maybe this is like the best of the bunch. I don't know. But I haven't quite... In fact, I think one of these... Didn't I start trying to fix it? I don't know. Anyway. So, yeah. Right. Okay. So, my question. Is this now the bug-out killer? Right? See where I'm going? They made a bug-out killer. Is this the bug-out killer? You know, we got this, what's that called? Crossbar lock. We got this orange handle, FRN handle material that, through the camera, does actually look orange. But to the naked eye, I would describe it more as like a salmon color. Pretty gross, really. Possibly a bit worse on this one. We'll see when I get it out of the box. Flat grind. And again, we've got, 420 mystery versus D2 mystery. Because it's probably not D2, is it? It's the whatever Chinese equivalent that's more stainless and... Oops. Oh yeah, Rovax. What are they trying to say? I mean, I've heard of Novax. I know that's good. Come on. Okay. Oh. I was on the pocket clip. Let's check the edge damage from me mashing this against the pocket clip. Maybe we have to check the pocket clip damage for mash against the edge. Piece of paper anywhere? What's this? No. Okay, let's see how quickly this edge damage hones out in the back of an M390 blade. Now, if this slices paper right now, that would be interesting data, wouldn't it? Because if you mashed that into a pocket clip and chipped out the edge, it probably wouldn't come back very quickly. But it didn't, so that's not a lot of data. Well, let's leave off that then, and we'll go in with this guy behind the pocket clip. I was wondering, I was like, what did they do to this bubble pack? It's so amazingly resilient. Oh my god. I mean, this thing, look at that. I thinned it out a lot and apple seeded, and this really that's such a difference. Where is it? Yeah, it really is. Once you get this thing moving. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I hit a burr on this or something. Now it feels okay. Okay, It's a little stiff. Okay. Yeah. Feels like it's going to loosen up. That feels kind of crunchy, a little. Okay. That's probably going to wear in. And I don't think it's going to get as good as this ever without further intervention. It is probably going to wear in. These are a little uncomfortable. These are a little bitey. Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a burr there on the... Is that actually machined to take a... To be like... No, right? Yeah, some kind of press fit thing. Yeah. So you could tidy that up and... what can I do? Go on this piece of oak here. Start to remove. Okay, now, ooh. Not bad. Not bad. So here's the thing, right? That I think that here's a line of thinking I have. This knife, if I recall correctly, out of the box, factory edge, over 400 cuts of half-inch sisal rope, right? Push cutting through sisal rope on the same spot, over 400 cuts before this would not cleanly slice paper. And meanwhile, I'm watching, like, what's the point, EDC Frank, and he's reviewing some, like, ultra-high HRC custom EDC knife, blah, 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 and it's getting that kind of figures, and it's like, wow, this is amazing. And I think, well, there could be various things going on, because some people cut the rope pulling, and depending on the steel, that may or may not present faster edge deterioration than push cutting through. I don't know. But what it makes me think is, well, when you have a really hard steel and you make, a blade that's in a really hardened steel, it's very difficult not to burn the edge, not to stress the edge when you're doing the final grind. Consequently, most of the knives that you get now that are in these ultra-hard super steels, like, for example, this knife, the Spyderco Pucco, is kind of legendary for chipping out at the edge. And that's probably how I ended up getting this one, because somebody had it, they used it a little bit, they saw it was chipping, and they were like, well, I don't want a knife that's just going to chip out when I use it, but it's worth all this money. Let me move it on. Well, lo and behold, it didn't take a lot of removal of that factory steel to get to just awesome performance. Yeah. But I think that maybe with this kind of thing, because they're making them in big mega factories and they've got everything dialed in, and at the end of the day, they're not going for the high hardness, but they probably do have good grinding equipment, machine grinding, and, maybe they switch their, if it's actually an abrasive belt they're using, maybe they actually switch it out on time and so forth. And so you end up with a really good edge. This would be a case in point. I'm sure this is not a super hard super steel, but it comes with a very decent factory edge, because it's not that hard for them to put a decent factory edge on it. And it's actually a motivator, because somebody who's buying this thing is buying it to be a cutting tool, not to be a presentation piece. So, okay, it could be cheap, it could be tacky, maybe it can have a little blade play or whatever, but it better freaking cut out of the box, right? And that is solid, by the way. So, ergos. I'm using this as my comparison, right? You can kind of forget about these guys, but the ergos on this thing are pretty good. I quite like it. They're okay on that. All these things are... It's not that hard to make a knife that fits okay in your hand, right? Something about this this on this FRN makes it feel cheap. I think it's that texturing that makes it feel extra nasty and kind of synthetic and crappy in my hand. But the shape is okay. It's a little slim, I guess, maybe for my hand. Not that much bulk to it. But I like the way there's no annoying flipper tab or anything, and you can get all kinds of grip positions on this thing. And then, of course, the pocket clip comfort is a consideration. That's not great there. I think we might be doing better here. I mean, look at that. That looks like they actually, burnished the, or, it's shaped. It's beveled. Something, That's a really nice touch. Look at that. Oh, no crispy grind lines. Look at that. That is really probably one of the most comfortable pocket clips. One of the 100 most. I don't know. That's definitely upper quartile, for pocket clip comfort. In fact, let me just, here we got the wire ones. Wire's pretty good. Oh, I moved this, I seem to recall. Didn't I? Or was that on another one? Yeah, I think that was me. I think this was only set up for tip up. And I actually moved, yeah, you can see, right? I've eaten into the... So that was pretty cool, pretty smart of me to do that. And the way that I oriented it, because in my opinion, it seems to me that the higher up this way the pocket clip rides, the more it nests into this part of your hand. This here kind of digs in there a little bit. And this, so yeah, maybe you could put it you would be able to put it a little higher, but then you'd move it over, you'd lose your lanyard hole. It's a nice lanyard hole. It's not ovular like this one, but I think it'll do the trick. It actually does kind of look like you might struggle to get regular paracord through there. You might have to take the core out. But yeah, ergos wise, I am absolutely about this one. And blade performance wise, I'm fairly confident that I'm going to prefer this, even if it doesn't have the same, even if, let's say, the edge retention is better on this, because of the grind. Hollow grinds can be awesome for whittling, but I think that one of the things that I would require for an awesome hollow grind whittler, such as Spyderco can make, is really hard steel, so that you can get that edge stability from the thin geometry. So, this just kind of, maybe when I sharpen it, but it's probably still in factory edge steel here as well, to be fair. So, I mean, and it's just been through that. So, but yeah, this instantly feels more at home in my hand. And for now, the cutting performance is superior. Can I? Oh man, I have a toothpick somewhere. All right, we'll do the toothpick test later, and it'll probably be fine. Not a lot of work to be done on that. Oh, full collection of spoons here. They're all looking pretty done. Nice. This is good. Now the video's going on a bit, but this is a kind of thing that does wear your edge a little bit. So I'm using a slightly modified carving technique here to keep the knife under the camera. Actually seems to be working pretty well. Pull the piece instead of pushing the knife. Guess I learned about that on Blade Tube. So this kind of cutting here that I'm doing right now is pretty stressful, because I'm kind of driving through into, along, and back out of the grain. And that is contorting my apex steel this way, that way, the other way, causing mechanical failure. However, this being 420J2 being a nice, soft, tough steel, it's happy to flex back and forth quite a lot. And meanwhile, if I do this exact same task with something like this little Rockstead here that actually chipped out the other day cutting paper, if I'm very careful, maybe I won't chip out the blade. And I can get absolutely amazing performance out of this kind of blade. But the amazing performance doesn't actually last that long. And then suddenly, before you know it, you realize that it's just gone to crap. So that the edge deterioration doesn't seem so gradual and consistent. It seems to go from excellent to pretty crap almost instantaneously. I don't know, because this is right now, this is great. I'm like, wow. But I know I'll get carried away. Half an hour later, I'll still be here banging away with this thing. And I'll be like, I don't think this is performing so well anymore. And then I'll pick up this thing and I'll go like that. And I'll be like, whoa, this thing cuts better than a Rockstead. Cool. Thanks for watching.